Hi, welcome to this lecture about hedging and boosting. Now, you've almost reached one of the final stages of the writing process. Time to really fine-tune the sentences in which you present your findings to the world. You've already been working on making it more concise and active, adjusting your sentence length to the needs of the reader, and now crucial parts of your text need special attention. The ones in which you point at your contribution. Why is this work important? How does it solve a problem? How does it answer a question? It's time to proudly boost or modestly hedge. And this issue will arise in several locations of your text. In the abstract, in the introduction as a preview, and of course, most of all, in the discussion. Now first, let's turn to some definitions. Hedging means to express caution, to be tentative in your statements. Boosting means to express conviction, certainty. Both actions seem to be opposed, but in fact they serve the same purpose. You want to convince the reader of the value of your findings. Boosting them will help to communicate your own certainty about this. But hedging them will show the reader that you are certainly aware of limitations and counter-arguments that may exist. So your credibility, and hence the credibility of your work, is enhanced by boosting as well as by hedging. Now, what are the linguistic tools we have to our disposition here? Let's have a look. First, an overview of the hedging words you can pick. There are the common modal verbs like will, may, might, can, and could. You can also use more substantial words, verbs, adverbs, adverbials, nouns, that really describe in a more semantic way how you value the certainty of your statements. Likewise, the same slide is to be presented with boosting words. Modal verbs again, and a long list of positive words full of certainty. I think these overviews will come in handy for you. Now, what lessons are there to be learned in this respect? I will give 3 important tips. And to do that, we will turn to some practical examples. The first tip is never to overhedge. Read the following statement. These outcomes may indicate a possible route for an alternative strategy. Now, I hope you note that the may as well as the possible are hedges. I would say one is clear enough. You have several choices with different nuances here. Why not write, these outcomes suggest an alternative strategy? Or perhaps, these outcomes show an alternative strategy is possible. Or these outcomes point to an alternative strategy. Note that the combination of show and possible presents a specific hedge-boost combination. Of course, perhaps you really need to say that your outcomes suggest an alternative strategy is possible, a kind of a double hedge. But, well, check carefully whether you really need to hedge this much. Second, when you are hypothesizing, be careful not to hedge unnecessarily. Read this sentence. We hypothesize that X might impact Y if blah blah blah. No, probably you mean to find out if X indeed impacts Y positively. So I would say we hypothesize that X impacts Y. Maybe better here. Check carefully. My third tip is maybe the most important one. Pick up some papers from your field and check the final lines of the abstract, the first and final paragraphs of the discussion, and the conclusions part. Focus on the words and the expressions the authors used to express their certainty or tentativeness. You can really learn a lot from that. Note that variety in word choice here will really help you to communicate a colorful message with different layers. I will show you some examples. Let's quickly scan them. Now I've highlighted the words and phrases that present hedging or boosting, in fact mostly boosting here. Importantly, no evidence of, demonstrate, simple, substantial, introduces a novel method, opens opportunity, and then may improve a hedge, ending up with a hedge. So it's nice to see how these authors use different words, different categories, nouns, adverbs, verbs also, demonstrate, introduce, opens opportunity, a nice way of expressing their certainty and the value of their findings. Another example, in conclusion, provides durable, improve, given the impact of, coupled with a favorable side effects profile, should be considered a viable treatment. Indeed, again, a variety of words and phrases that underline the impact and the importance of the results. Last example starts out with the famous, "We believe that this study is the first to report." Well, of course, somewhere in the outskirt of the world, there may be someone reporting the same thing at the same moment, which is, of course, not very, might not be the case, probably not. But still, you have to be, you have to hedge this. Discovery, new prognostic indicators is important for, may enable establishment. All choices of nouns and phrases that underline certainty, of course, if suitable. One additional thing, we need to pay some extra attention to the use of the modal verbs for hedging, like may and can. They are very common and they express nuances that may be important for you, are important for you. Let me explain. Take a look at these 4 sentences. I can go to the cinema tonight. I could go to the cinema tonight. May go or might go. Quite similar, but not exactly. When you really focus on the differences and the details, the different nuances these expressions are giving the reader. The first sentence, I can go to the cinema tonight. I am able to go. So the stress is on the ability. I could go to the cinema tonight. The ability is there, but it's, well, less certain that I'm really going. So it's more, you're hedging more. I may go to the cinema tonight. It is possible. The possibility is there. So there's less emphasis on the ability or the capacity, more on the possibility. It may happen. There's a chance the happening will occur in the future. And I might go to the cinema tonight. Well, it may happen, but it's not very likely, and probably I will just be on the couch Netflixing. So, when you use can, you specifically point to the ability or the capacity of the subject. As in, prostate cancer can result in. These results can be explained, probably you can explain it by blah, blah, blah. Could indicates a more general ability, but it's also focused, it refers to a feature of the subject itself. Many factors could contribute to. There are many factors and they all have the ability to contribute. This model could be extended to mobile data plans as well. Ability. Capacity. When we turn to may has a kind of a different perspective. It emphasizes that a possible event is thinkable, possible, whether it's possibly the case or will be the case. And several factors may be involved here, of which you are not sure. The experiment may prove to be inconclusive. Our findings show that this association may indeed be the result of, so it is possible, it's thinkable, but there's less emphasis on the ability of the subject. Might, even more unsure, even more tentative, whether something is possible or probable, but it's on the same level. Another possibility might be health information might more strongly. So I hope I have achieved a kind of clear explanation of the differences between can, could, may, and might. So think twice before you use these hedges. May and can are different. Might being more cautious than may, could being more cautious and general than can. Okay, our final move. Nowadays it's getting more and more important to really sell your research. This study of the Vinkers group focuses on shifts in word choices when it comes to boosting, boosting in general. They calculated whether over the last 4 decades boosting words were more frequently used. In fact, they labeled it as positive and negative words. So it's more like whether there is emotion in the paper, positive emotion, negative emotion. Now, this indeed was the case even in high-impact journals, although the trend in high-impact journals was a bit more modest. In this box, you can see what kind of words the authors labeled as positive and negative. Well, perhaps you can use this as an inspiration. In fact, the increase of these words show that scientific texts are more emotional. Yet, if we keep in mind the important lesson, show what your findings mean, don't just tell it, I must say all this language does fall in the category to tell. It helps, of course, so you should use tools like these, but you can never sell something by just stating it is terrific or amazing or novel. You cannot do this without showing what and why. So in your case, in your paper, give evidence. Explain why this is really a contribution. Explain why it adds something and how, particularly how. And then conclude that what you found is really amazing. So, show, don't tell, or better, tell and show. I will finalize with a last warning. Overdoing the boosting is as unconvincing as overdoing the hedging. Okay, now, I hope I was clear. Take care and thank you for listening.